Well, tomorrow's the day, thank God. Tomorrow's the day that California is holding a special election. Ahhnold has spent millions of dollars putting together this special election to pass 4 measures which will give the governor of the state of California a lot more control. And nobody in the state wanted this special election. And I'm really hoping he gets his butt kicked tomorrow. They're all constitutional amendments, and I'm voting against them for many reasons, but I have to admit that one of the reasons I'm voting against them is because I'm really angry that our state, the schools in our state, are hurting for money, and he's spent over $300 million. Is that how much it is? I lose track of. Just trying to get together this ballot measure when he could have waited until the next election time rolled around. So, but tomorrow we've been inundated with election materials. And if I had really thought about it, if I had really wanted to be impressive, I would have saved all the stuff that we've gotten. But I only saved the stuff from today, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. But I've had the perverse pleasure of hanging up on Ahhnold. I've hung up on John McCain. I've hung up on a bunch of different people who have called me trying to get me to support these measures. And the other controversial things that are going up on this ballot measure, the most controversial, I suppose, is Measure X. And Measure X involves a piece of land that local developers want to create into Covell Village. Never have I seen so much controversy about one measure. Let me just show you what the newspaper looked like yesterday. Now, usually when we have a controversial town measure like this, it's pretty easy to figure out how you feel about something because we know we've been here for 30 years and we know a lot of like-minded people. So when you go through and you look at the long lists of people who are either for or against a specific proposition, it's fairly easy to figure out who are the good guys and who are the bad guys, depending on what your feeling may be. But on this issue, there are so many people. Two of my very best friends are actively campaigning against Measure X. Several other people that we know and respect are actively campaigning for Measure X. There are several former mayors who are in favor of Measure X, and there are a couple of former mayors who are vocally opposed to Measure X. So, and you drive around town and you look at the campaign signs, and there are some campaign signs for people who are running for school board, but mostly this town is filled with signs one way or the other about Measure X. Are you for it or are you against it? People are going door to door with information about Measure X. I've had phone calls from people about one way or the other about Measure X. And in all honesty, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. I think I'm going to vote for it, but don't tell anybody. It's kind of like I'm afraid to vocalize how I'm feeling because I do have these 2 friends who are really, really adamantly against it, but I kind of think maybe it's a good idea, but I don't really care. But I'll tell you, it's definitely a measure that has divided this town, and thank God tomorrow it'll all be over. This is the stuff that we've received today. This is our Measure X. This was hanging on the door earlier today. Then we have some of Ahhnold's stuff. Who is this one from? This was paid for the Citizens for Responsible Planning. Oh, that's Measure X. Then we've got more people. This gal here She's a former state assemblywoman, and she's married to the guy I work for. I've known her for years, since before she got into politics. And we've got something for 77. The numbers kind of blend all together. We've got something on 78, and we've got something to stop Ahhnold on all of them. And we got, oh, this is a school board thing. This was also put on the door by somebody who came door to door, and we didn't answer the door. There's my big thing from Senator John McCain. I hear from John a lot. He and I are good buds. I think we should go out to lunch afterwards. Then we have something on yes on Proposition X. There's just so much of this stuff, and this is actually kind of a light day, really. I mean, there have been days when we've gotten a lot more than this. Look at how many trees have died for this election. I thought I'd take a little drive around and see if I could get a feel for which neighbors are in favor of Project X, or Measure X, and which are against it, while the signs are still up. Well, I guess we know what this house is, how this house is voting. And then across the street we have that. And then down the block here a little bit, we have this. This appears to be the yes on X block on this side, and that on that side. My guess is there are no neighborhood parties in this neighborhood right now. The no on yes block. I mean the no on X block. Then we have no and another yes. One thing about this town is people are very vocal about their beliefs. People who live in my son's old house appear to be in favor of Measure X. They say it's going to offer better fire protection. Across the street say no on Measure X because they feel that there's not going to be affordable housing there, though that's supposed to be one of the plans. Heavy no on X territory now, and that's because we're close to the area of land that they're talking about. So let's go look at the piece of land. What all the fuss is about. This is a big parcel of land here, and they plan to make it into a big housing development, which will have a new school, various kinds of housing, co-housing, private housing, co-op housing, condos, everything else. Greenbelt, shopping center, all this sort of stuff. I was kind of upset because I figured they were going to be getting rid of this. Oh, that's the wrong tree. Oh, that's the right tree. They're going to be getting rid of this tree, which I've been watching for 30 years, which looks like it's about ready to die, but which has been growing like that, tilted for 30 years. See, it looks like it's growing there out of the ground, but it really isn't. There's the tree. Anyway, the people who want Measure X say that it will complete the planning of the city, and that it'll be very good for the city. The people who say no on it say that it's going to bring in too much traffic. As you can tell, there's already a lot of traffic on this road. That there's going to be congestion, that there won't be enough housing, that everything is being distorted. And of course, the yes on X people say that the no on X people are distorting things. So it's just one big horrible mess. But it's obvious that sooner or later, somebody's going to do something with this land. It used to be a tomato field, and there was a tomato factory right next to it, which made tomato soup. It was a Campbell factory. And the Campbell factory has long since shut down, so nothing gets grown in here now. And we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. The parcel, when you get down to the end of it, there is a shopping center there. That's where I took the pictures of the Halloween decorations. So it's kind of right at the very edge of town. And I don't know, I kind of think that it wouldn't be so bad. It's going to be phased in over 11 years before it'll be done. Maybe I'll be dead by the time it's finished, so my vote won't really matter. This has absolutely nothing to do with the election, but isn't that tree gorgeous? That's a Chinese pistachio tree. And look at the colors. That's one of the most beautiful ones I've seen. We planted a tree like that in our backyard, and because I loved the color in the fall. And we probably have the only Chinese pistachio tree in all of Davis that goes from green to gray-brown to dead. And there's a yes. Yes, of course it's the same house. And a yes over there. And lots of yeses there, and a yes there. Oh, this is such a weird town. A couple of no's. I'm thinking everybody in this town is going to be so glad when this thing is over.